Today I am making a new bridge for this Takamine guitar, a company originating from Japan, and as you can see the bridge was holding on to the soundboard like my willpower at an all-you-can-eat buffet. The bridge was also damaged and chipped out behind the screw hole, so there was no point in keeping the original one, and replacing it with a new one made out of rosewood was a much more logical decision, as it will hold for many years to come. The problem is that they glued the bridge onto the soundboard without removing the lacquer underneath, so there was no wood-to-wood contact when applying the glue, and the only thing keeping this bridge in place were the two tiny screws. The first thing I need to do is trace the outline of the old bridge onto the new blank, so that I will have the same footprint on the soundboard as the old one. I should mention that these rosewood blanks have been drying for more than 40 years in our workshop, so they are perfectly stable and really great for building bridges. I make the new bridge slightly oversized on purpose, about 1 or 2 millimeters on all sides, so that it covers any damages on the lacquer on the soundboard when the old bridge came off. Now that I have the shape of the bridge, I need to fit it onto the profile of the soundboard. Now there is no scientific or faster method to do this as far as I know. I simply mark the position where the bridge will sit, place the sandpaper on the soundboard and sand away. Now if you have a faster method that is more reliable than this, I am all ears. The next step is removing the lacquer from the soundboard, so when I glue the bridge back on, I will have a nice wood-to-wood contact. I mark the position of the bridge on the soundboard, trace the outline with the sharp edge, set the depth on the router bit and route away. After removing the bulk of the lacquer in the middle, I grab a chisel and remove the rest of the lacquer around the edges by hand. This way I don't get any tear out and everything looks nice and clean. The next step in the bridge building process is shaping the top. You determine the height of the bridge by placing a straight edge on the fretboard, and the end of the straight edge must just clear the top of the bridge. Now for the wings of the bridge, I simply trace the length of the old bridge and then sand everything down evenly on both sides on the belt sander. I remove all the rough sand marks of the belt sander by hand sanding the bridge, going from 150 to 400 grit sandpaper. As you can see, the guitar also has a thick reinforcement plate under the bridge already, so I don't need to worry about any structural problems later on when I'll be drilling the holes for the new bridge pins. Before you glue the bridge on the soundboard, always measure everything twice and make sure that everything is in its right place, if you catch that Radiohead reference, and make sure that the center of the bridge matches the center of the fretboard. I already filled the both holes of the pickup because I will be drilling new ones later on, but for the screw holes I will actually try an experiment this time. I will leave them as they are, as I don't want to drill new ones, and I will place the new bridge on top and then trace the outline of the holes from the inside, and hopefully everything matches when I drill the new holes on the bridge. And I will look like a genius if this works, or a complete fool if the holes are not aligned when I place the bridge back on. If everything is aligned as it should be, I should see a perfect circle when I shine a light through the holes. So there you go. Now I just apply a generous amount of Titebond on the bridge and the soundboard itself. I always apply a lot of it, much more than I actually need, but I rather have too much squeeze out than too little. Then I place the two new screws through the bridge and the soundboard. Make sure that everything is nice and tight. I remove the tape and roughly clean out all the squeeze out before going to clamp down, and then at the end have a nice cleanup so I don't leave any glue residue on the soundboard, which is not a problem with tight bond. I can come back later and wipe everything down with a wet towel, but I like to have a clean surface when I'm coming back the next day after all the glue is dried up. I usually leave the bridge pressed on the soundboard for a whole day, so after 24 hours I can remove all the clamps and I can clean out the soundboard of any glue residue that was left on. I just spray it with some water and wipe it off with a microfiber cloth. Now, before I move on to the next step of routing out the channels for the pickups, I need to fill in these screw holes. I'm using rosewood plugs that I made beforehand, and then I apply some thin CA glue to seal everything in, spray it on with some accelerator to speed up the process, and then I simply sand off the extra material and fine sand it back to 400 grit so everything is nice and smooth. Now here comes the most difficult and stressful part of building a bridge, and that is routing out the channel for the pickup. This guitar is especially tricky because it has two split pickups, so you need to route out two channels in the bridge. So if you're not 100% accurate with all the measurements and the routing, you can mess up the whole bridge and the intonation will be off. In this case, it can even look funky because the two pickups need to be almost parallel to each other, so if you mess one or the other, it will definitely look weird. So whenever you're working with high precision tools, always remember, measure never, eyeball forever. Or as the famous poem goes, route too fast, regret will last, guide the tool and don't be a fool. On a more serious note, routing is actually just 90% of setting up the tools and maybe 10% of the actual routing itself. I always do a dry run before I start the machine, as I want to see where the router bit is actually going, so I didn't mess anything up. Very important to remember, always wait for the router bit to completely stop before you lift up the machine. Otherwise you can have a really ugly tear out and you will spend a lot of time fixing the mistake you did and it will never look perfect. Trust me, I've been there. After I route out the channel for the first pickup and measure that I have the correct depth on it, I just repeat the same process for the next one. And again, I wait for the machine to completely stop spinning before I move on. Now for the next step of drilling the holes for the bridge pins, we will have to use a bit of math. I'm using the old bridge as a template, and the distance between the high and low E string is 53 millimeters. You divide that by 5 for each string space, and you get 10.6 millimeters, and that is the distance between the center of each string. Now you also have to calculate the distance from the edge both on the high and the low E side. In this case it is exactly 6.1 millimeters from the edge, so now I have a starting point for the first string, and for the rest of the strings I just transfer the distance of 10.6 millimeters, and there you go, you have a perfect string spacing. And now for the most satisfying part of applying an oil finish to the bridge. I'm using linseed oil and I let it sit for a couple of minutes so the wood has time to absorb it. Then I wipe off any extra and give everything a nice cleanup. Now I just drill two small holes at the edges of the channels at 90 degrees so that I can mount the pickups back in. Before I put on the strings and finish setting up this guitar, I will give the fretboard a nice cleanup. First I go around with alcohol to get rid of all the grease and the dirt that's been built up. Then I use extra fine steel wool to clean up the fret slots and polish up the frets. and then I go around with the alcohol one more time before applying an oil finish the same as the bridge. I let it sit for a couple of minutes before wiping everything down with a microfiber cloth. The customer wanted to go with the 12 gauge strings this time, so I need to touch up the fret slots and widen them a bit. I adjust the truss rod to the new string tension, then I check the intonation and measure and set up the string height on the 12th fret. That's it for this one. I will have demos playing at the end. One is in finger style and one is some chord style playing. If you liked the video and came this far, please consider subscribing or sharing the video with others. It really does help out a lot. I will also have links in the description below if you want to support out the channel, and if you want to send in your guitar for any kind of repair or restoration, send me an email. Enjoy the demos and thank you for watching.